Welcome to Steve's Vintage Model Builds. This is Steve, and thanks for stopping by. Appreciate everyone who joins me. Up over 320 subscribers now. As always, I appreciate everyone's time. I know it's valuable, and I'm grateful that people, in spite of all my ahs and ums, that people stop in to watch my videos. So today we've got something not particularly unique, a Tamiya kit that's been around for since 1971, and the original tooling was 71. Date on the box here is 1971 copyright. So they've been producing this kit steadily since 1971. So this is an original box. Original, it's new plastic, everything like that. So, and fans of the channel will know, or viewers of the channel will know, I'm a big Tamiya fan. They're not for everybody. They're good. They're good kits, excellent kits. I think there's only 2 or 3 in their whole catalog that aren't very good. The old Sea Harrier comes to mind first. And as Peter Oxley mentioned, everybody seems to have a problem with the Sea Harrier. Don't know why that is. In any case, this one here is the Panzerkampfwagen 2 Ausf. Now, Ausf is roughly translated as version or type FG. And it's an interesting subject. As you notice here, it's got machine guns instead of regular heavier guns. And was produced mostly in 1941, 1942. Prior to that was the Kampfwagen 1, which was by the beginning of the war, it was pretty obvious that it was obsolete. But they designed the 1 because of the restrictions of the Versailles Treaty that, for the most part, the Hitler Nazis ignored, especially later in the 30s. And so they upgraded this with armor and made the guns bigger. And it was very successful in the Blitzkriegs, Operation Barbarossa, and also on the Western Front. While it wasn't heavily armed, it was very fast, and it was excellent for close infantry support. It was very maneuverable, and so. And it also served in North Africa. By the end of 1942, it was pretty much obsolete in itself, and had been superseded by the Panzer III and Panzer IVs later on. But for the time being, this is the 41-42 version, and it also served in North Africa, where it was quite successful as well. For fast infantry support, fast attack, reconnaissance. It was perfectly suited for the terrain of the North African desert and wastelands. Okay, so we've got the usual Tamiya stuff. We've got a little crease in the box here, unfortunately. This was from Amazon, cost a little over $25. And it's pretty amazing that, you can get something like this now for $25. What can you get for $25, really? I mean, you go to Boston Pizza and you just have something basic without an alcoholic beverage, and it's $25. And you get a lot more hours of enjoyment out of something like this. And as you'll see, it's a great kit for someone just coming back into the hobby, who needs to relearn skills, or really sharpen up the skills that they have, or even a beginner with a young person supervised. Certainly a 10-year-old would be able to do it with supervision, and a 12 or 14-year-old definitely. Another good thing that makes this a very good value is the figures. It comes with figures, and we'll get into that more when I get into the box. So, a military 135 scale, military miniatures number 9. It says here, modeling skills helpful if under 10 years of age, and supervision if under 10 years of age, especially with the sharps and the cement. And it comes with a combat crew of 5, quote-unquote easy to assemble, and it is pretty easy to assemble. Catalog number 35009. And we've got different regimental patches on the side here. And as always with the older Tamiya boxes, we've got different models they offer in the same range. This is done in Africa core coloring and decaling. You can see the little palm tree there. And that would make it the F version. The G version had an extra bustle at the back. I know this picture shows the bustle at the back, but the ones who served in North Africa didn't have the storage case at the back. So yeah, it'll be an interesting build. All right, so let's open her up here. As always, well, not as always, but for kits of this vintage, no plastic on the outside, no shrink wrap, just tape on 2 sides. We know this is fairly recent because the tape is clear. I've had a few kits that I've ordered. The kits have been fine. They've been all perfect inside and everything. But the tape's all yellow. So you know it's been sitting on a warehouse shelf somewhere for quite a while. Okay, so let's take a look here. Oh, a quick shout out to my buddy Zinzan Scale Modeling. He came out with a video today on the 148 Airfix British Electric Lightning. He doesn't do very many reviews, so stop by his channel and check it out. He did a great job on this, as he does on everything. Okay, so there we go. All right, so we get the top of the model, very nicely detailed. You get all the latches, vents, hash marks here for where the non-slip metal would be here. This one has an axe already molded in, but I think there's other tools that you add in after. No flash. Ejector pin marks on the inside, which are no issue. Then we got the lower body, and this is the old tub style, single piece. That's set up to accommodate a motor. You know, back in I think I had one that had a motor, or that I put a motor in it, and they were always considered a bit of a gimmick. The motor never really worked that great, and you know, it had to be very specific type of terrain or carpet, if you will, for it to work properly. Now they've changed that for newer versions, newer kits, like the Comet from last year, or I guess 2022 now. You just had the bottom plate, and you put the 2 sides on, and then you put the suspension on. So yeah, a bit of shake and bake here, guys. Which I love. I love shake and bake. Shake and bake chicken with some mashed potatoes, kernel corn, stovetop stuffing. Yum. Hard to go wrong with that on a cold night. Okay, so yeah, so we've got this, and yeah, it's a very nicely detailed. We've got all the different suspension pieces here. Again, little, if any, flash. I don't know if you can see, there's a tiny bit here, but I always trim up these edges a little bit anyways. Just something you do. Something I do. Okay, and so, oh, yeah. And we've got the famous, infamous vinyl tracks. Now, these look to be pretty good. And instead of 2, there's 4 connecting points. So that'll be helpful. One thing they advise is if it doesn't work or if you melt through it, use staples. Which isn't a bad idea. I mean, hey, they work and they blend in. Speaking of staples, here we go. Tamiya's famous staples on the package. We get one sprue bag. So let's see what we got here. Okay, nice decals. I think there's 3 different schemes available here. The usual Tamiya decals. And these have a copyright of 2001. So once again, you know, these decals aren't from 2001. But that's at least the date since then. So there we go. Unusual, they don't have a tissue protector there, but anyways. Okay, so, oh, and we get, we'll get to these after. And so the top sprue here is accessories. We get 2 pith style helmets, Africa Core for Africa Core, and then we've got the 4 regular style helmets. Accessories, bedroll, rifle. This looks like a light machine gun. Oh, that might be one of the guns that goes in the... No. This will be a light machine gun. Gas canisters. There's some submachine guns. And you can see in that light, there's no flash. Even on these tiny, even on the trigger guards of the tiny little machine guns. Oh, there's a tiny bit here on these. But these guys are absolutely perfect. Okay, and then here we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 figures. I guess these will be the infantry people. And all their arms and their water bottles, binoculars. There's a couple tools here. There's a bipod for the machine gun. And there's some seams here. But the figures are beautifully detailed, and they are done in Africa Core style with the shorts. can see the facial expressions. And yes, they look very nice. The quality of the plastic is good, just what you'd expect from Tamiya, the usual stuff. And then here we've got the wheels and sprockets, as well as the, I guess this is the commander figure in the tank. He has binoculars in his hands. There's hooks here. Again, a little bit of flash, but you're always going to have to clean up your figures anyways a little bit. And then we've got these little vinyl separators. These were used back in the day when you had to have all the wheels turning when it was motorized. I think now with the newer kits, they just have it in the front and the rear, like the front sprocket and the rear, whatever you call that piece, so that you can roll it if you want. But they do make the wheel assemblies go together nicely. And here we got a spare tractor, spare tread it looks like. And the turret ring, muffler. Here's the bustle if you're going to use it. Hatches, more tools. All the little doodads. Very nice. And once again, basically no flash. All the part numbers are very clear. Don't you hate that when you get a kit where the part numbers on the sprue are blurred? That drives me nuts. Hasn't happened very often, but it does. Oh, and here's a nice little detail. If you want, you can cut this out. And there's a decal that says what it is. You know, we've got the Tamiya stars, the date, if you like that kind of thing. Alright, so, as with most of these Tamiya kits, you get, well, in the new, you get the tech tips, which are great for all sorts of things. I use them to, I got so many of them, I use them to line the bottom of a small box for spray painting. And you get 2 sets of instructions. You get instructions in Japanese, instructions in English, and you get applying the decals. It's just a single-sided sheet, but it is all in Japanese. But since it's the decals, you don't really need the English. What I find is kind of interesting here, yeah, and they do have the different paint schemes, so that's good. And they show you the 2 different ones here, and they show you the technique. You can, I guess, put the cotton balls on there, and then spray, or spray, and then daub with cotton balls. There's all sorts of ways you can do that. I'm going to do the Africa core style, which will just be in the desert brown or dark brown, I expect. Und now the history. And this is one of the really nice things I love about Tamiya, having been somewhat of a writer myself in the past. There's a certain flair to, you know, what they put in their instructions here. So they start out, in the morning of September 1st, 1939, German forces consisting of the 3rd, 4th, 8th, 10th, and 14th Armies invaded Poland, all heading for Warsaw, its capital. This was the beginning of the Second World War that had shaken the world for 6 years, and the Germans made a good show of their war effort at the start with this violent surprise offensive by massed air forces and mechanized ground forces in close coordination, the so-called Blitzkrieg. It was none other than the Panzerkampfwagen II that had played the key role in this Blitzkrieg, which started with the invasion of Poland to be followed by the breakthrough of the Maginot Line 7 months later, and ended with the surrender of France. Originally conceived in 1934 as a light to medium tank, by the time the war rolled around, they were up to about 9.5 tons, so they were right in the medium category there. During the period beginning from March 1941 to May 1943, Axis forces composed of the German and Italian divisions on one hand, and the Allied forces consisting of the British and the US troops on the other, fought a severe battle in the North African desert, series of battles. Needless to say, the key role in that fighting was played by tanks of the rival forces. They go on to show you the organization here, and the various different date timelines. The tank was 4.81 meters long, 2.28 meters wide, and just a little over 2 meters tall. As I said, it weighed 9.5 tons, and it had a 20 millimeter KWK-30 or 38 later machine gun, and 7.92 millimeter machine gun, MG-34. Engine was a Maybach HL62 water-cooled 6-cylinder, about 6.2 liter engine that generated about 140 horsepower. Maximum speed 40 kilometers an hour, cruising distance 125 kilometers. Number of crew, it says here 5, but I believe it had a crew of 3. 5 is the number of figures you get. And so this is just great. I mean, for those who are interested in that kind of thing. There's a map of North Africa, and you know all the different battles: Tobruk, El Alamein, Tunis. So you get plenty of history there. And here they give you the Africa Corps painting. And detailing. And the various different collar badges for you paint manually. I don't think they have those as decals. They also give you details on all the different armbands. And that takes up the full page. But yeah, easy to go wild on your figure painting here. I'm not crazy about these kind of instructions, but you know, whatever. It is what it is. So we get 5 steps. The notes here: read the instructions, knife, driver. Painting of number 2 tank unit should be done after it's been fully constructed. I don't know what that is, but anyways. And here's the note: construction of the gun turret can be done in 2 ways. The F type, or Ausf F, and the type G. which has the bustle on the back. This wasn't for ammunition, it was just for extra storage. It tells you how to mesh together the tracks, and this was kind of cute. They say here, when connecting portion is either broken off or flattening, has been too slight to hold the two caterpillars firmly together, secure the connection further with black thread or a Hotchkiss paper fastener, otherwise known as a staple, as shown on the figure on the left. So, anyways, and then they go on to detail the painting for the soldiers and how to put them together, all the different things. How am I doing with my Ausf? Pretty good, I think. Yeah. Alright, so here we've got the construction of the lower hull. Pretty straightforward, pretty simple. And then the sprockets, the road wheels, the rear wheels, how those all go on. Each of the poly spacers. So that gets your wheels on. Then we move on to the turret assembly. It shows you the two different types here. For the G type with the bustle, for the F type without. So there's a couple extra parts that you put there where the bustle would go. Construction of the upper hull. Connecting the caterpillar tracks. Interesting, they call them caterpillar tracks. And putting the top portion onto the lower portion. And that's it. And you've got the sprue map here. And you have a very nice photograph, black and white, of the completed model as part of a larger diorama. Very nicely done. Okay, so pretty simple kit. Not complicated. You could probably do the whole thing easily in a rainy weekend or a snowy weekend. Or if you really wanted to go gonzo on it, you could probably do it in a day if you, depending on how you did the painting. When I paint stuff, I like to leave it overnight, let it cure really well, even if it doesn't need that much time. Okay, so now it comes rating time. I use a 12-point system. I'll put up a card. Sometimes they come up, sometimes they don't. I don't understand why, but that's YouTube, I guess. And so I use a 12-point scale. 10 standard points, 2 points for packaging, 2 points for sprues, 3 points for parts, and 3 points for instructions. Quarter-point bonus per category, up to, quarter-point bonus of category for any wow factors. And up to a full bonus point for value. And I consider value as not only the actual cost of the kit, but how many hours of enjoyment I can expect to get out of it. Okay, so for packaging, a quarter point off, I'm afraid, for the creases here, although nothing seems to have been damaged inside. There was a little bit of blistering, but I don't think I've seen a kit yet that doesn't have a bit of blistering on it, unless it's straight out of the factory and hasn't been moved anywhere. So 1.75 on packaging. a full 2 points plus a quarter point on the sprues. Virtually no flash, nothing to speak of at all. Absolutely perfect. There were no molding bubbles, nubs, recesses where they were awkward or didn't belong. As always, beautifully engineered tooling that you get with Tamiya. For parts themselves, the quality of the plastic was good, very good. Detail, very good. There were no warped or broken parts, and there was no PE or aftermarket stuff, but that's okay. I don't like PE anyways, and for the most part. And the decals are adequate, the usual Tamiya type decals, which some people consider to be thick and they don't like them, and whatever the case may be. Some people feel the same way about me. They think I'm thick and don't like me. So, but I'm a good person, so whatever. All right, so yeah, so then 3 points for the parts. Instructions. The instructions were clear. You get plenty of general service and history notes. They were in black and white, and unfortunately, the decal guide was all in Japanese. So it would be nice, like this shows the Africa Corps paint style. I guess for Western Front and the invasion of Poland, it probably would have been the German gray with certain type of camo. They do show that in the decaling, but nothing in color. So that's a quarter point off, but a quarter point bonus for the instructions. They include all that additional information, the map of North Africa, the dates of the various regimental markings, as well as the makeup and consistency of the various different armored divisions that the subject served in. So that's an even, back up to an even 3 there. And as far as value is concerned, I'm going to give it a 3/4 of a point. Just the tank itself, I wouldn't have a problem. If that was itself was $25. But you get the 5 figures, and if you go to order a 5-figure kit somewhere else, I've seen them for up to $50. And so for this kind of quality of so $10 a figure. So yeah, 3/4 of a point there. Okay, so that brings us to a 10.75 out of 12. And let me know if you think I'm being too generous with my ratings. I try to carefully select the kits so that the ones I get aren't junk. There's always a dog every once in a while, but there's not much you can do about that. It happens, you learn from it, and you move on. So, but yeah, for $25, and a couple kinds of paint, etc., etc., and you're built with a beautiful model to either put on a diorama or on the shelf for about $30. And as I said, you get depending on your skill level and how quickly you work or want to work, you can get quite a few hours out of this. So, and again, about the shake and bake, well, some people just need a shake and bake kit. In our demographic, we're, getting, this hobby is most popular. I wish younger people would really get into it, and I hope that some do. But generally speaking, your fingers get shakier, your eyesight gets not as good, and as much as you'd like to build more sophisticated and complex kits, you just can't. Others may have had various medical conditions that have affected their cognitive abilities. People like me. Although I'm very fortunate, my cognitive abilities are pretty much limited to ums and ahs and losing my train of thought sometimes. In any case, yeah. So it's just what just what the doctor ordered sometimes, and if you some people want to be engineers, and and so be always solving problems with a kit, having to drill this and cajole that and jig this and sand that and so on and so forth. But not everybody wants to do that, or it doesn't give them enjoyment. So, I mean, if you do a hobby that's just going to frustrate you, then it's not a hobby anymore, is it really, guys? So, okay, so that's it for this one, and hope everybody enjoyed it. Got quite a few things in the pipe now, and I'll be doing an update video soon. I got started on the 1-200 Academy New Bedford Whaler. That's going together very nicely, and it's a nice little kit. Got a diorama coming on the 176 Airfix Vintage Classic 88mm gun and half-track tractor. And finishing up a tiny little Sopwith camo, just kind of a yeah thing. I think I paid $10 for it. I saw it on sale today for $5.99. So give you an idea. I just wanted a biplane and a little Sopwith camo, just for the shelf. Alright, so that's it for today, and I hope everybody's enjoyed it with a lot fewer ahs and not very many ums. And I hope to continue that going into the future. Always a shout out to Terry there at Hobby Barn, Terry Sr. We're always thinking about you, buddy. Haven't heard from you lately. Hope everything's okay. And you're welcome to reach out anytime. Your model kit should be arriving sometime next week. Alright, so again, thanks to everyone who takes the time to check out my channel, and hope you find it interesting and informative. A kit like this, lots of people have done reviews and builds and so on and so forth on. So I hope I could add something to what others have already done to make it interesting and informative. Alright, well, thanks again, and we'll be back soon with another video.